Good morning, North America. Welcome to Church Talk TV. Lively talk about life, church, and church life. I'm your co-host, Dr. Bill Tenney-Britton, and I'm joined, as usual, by my co-host, Dr. Kris Tenney-Britton, and we're broadcasting from our studio in Columbia, Missouri, the heartland of America. Say good morning, Kris.
Well, good morning, and welcome to Church Talk TV.
Kris and Bill Tenney-Britton here today to talk about the fourth core process, or the four processes, and it is send.
Go.
Send.
Go.
Okay, we have a slight disagreement here.
We do indeed, but first let me say what those four core processes
What a good
are,
idea.
right? You can see these. We've already talked about these in previous episodes. They are invite. We need to invite people in.
Got to get butts and seats somehow.
Connect. So we're connecting with people, connecting them with opportunities, connecting them ultimately with the church. And
We're trying to retain them long enough so we can
disciple them.
Okay, good.
So we want to disciple. I know. I was thinking, what are you saying? So yeah, we want to disciple them, right? Not just fill in with Christian education, but disciple them. And then as they're discipled,
we send them out.
we encourage them to go. And here's the problem. We learned these processes, and this fourth one was send.
Is.
And it moves out from where Jesus sent them out. The problem is we're really good at sending money, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Churches are really good at sending money.
Without sending boots on the ground.
Exactly. And so it is that Jesus said, I send you, but then he said, go into all of the world, and want to make sure that's clear. That's why I'm so
Adamant.
I am about going. So the fourth key process is go.
All right, so listen, we don't have a lot of time. We never do on this show. So real quick, I want to jump in. There's two different levels of getting people out of your church and into the real world where they can do mission, where they can do ministry, where they can make disciples of Jesus Christ. So there's two levels. There's a personal level, and there's a congregational level. And my job today is to do the quick overview of the congregational level, and then she's going to run the personal level because she's more personable than I am. So here's the deal. Congregational level, what really comes from, what we're talking about is the congregation or the church getting involved in the community. And there's a real key problem that we've seen in church after church after church, and it really stems from Matthew 5:14-16, which is the whole salt and light passage. You are the salt of the earth, you are the light, you are the light of the world. And in Matthew 5:16 he says, in the same way, Jesus says this, in the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they, the people out there, may see your good deeds and give glory to your Father in heaven. The key here is that this is written in good Yankee English and not good Southern English, because if it was in good Greek, which is also good Southern, it would be, let y'all's light shine, so that they may see y'all's good deeds. In other words, it's a plural you, means the church. It's not talking about you individually. The you individual, we're still sent. Go. It's not y'all go, it's you go. But the reality is that this is about going as a congregation. And when we go as a congregation to do ministry and mission, doing anonymous mission, which is to say going and doing things and not getting credit for them as a church and as Christianity, it just isn't okay. We've got to make sure that the church gets credit, that God gets credit. So just let me pick on something. Every year, church after church gathers up all sorts of school supplies to send to the school. And the only person who knows that Jesus had anything to do with gathering up those school supplies from that church is the school secretary that you dropped them off with. Nobody else in school, no kid knows that Jesus had anything to do with this. So doing packs like that is a good thing. It's a wonderful thing, but it's not a good church ministry. That's something you should be doing, and the church should be doing things that bring focus to Jesus Christ. That's a nice thing to do, but your church only has so many resources. invest them in ways in which the church gets the credit, Jesus Christ gets the credit, and God gets glorified.
So let me jump in there because we're really talking about mission, and I want to hit that real quick. Ministry is what we do in the building. Mission is what we do beyond the building, right?
Okay,
So I like to make that distinction.
It's a good distinction. Good distinction.
Mission and ministry. So what we're talking about when we're talking about going is, since we're leaving the building, we're talking about mission. As you're talking about these packs, right? The help, because there are different kinds of packs.
But school packs, whatever, however it is.
Buddy packs often,
with
right?
food sometimes.
Food.
Yeah, right.
Well, buddy packs do have food, but they don't always come from contributions. Anyways, okay, from individual contributions. Anyways, if you can get the name of your church, this pack was given to you by what, or made possible, or and do that even with other churches.
That can work. That's a different scenario.
But as you prioritize your mission, again, I just really do want to reiterate that mission is we do that on behalf of the church. And I love this. I think it's at the end of Acts chapter 2. You'll correct me if I'm wrong, where it talks about the church, and when people saw what they were doing, they had great favor, and that people were coming to know Jesus, were turning their lives over to Jesus. And we know that happened in the hundreds because they saw what the church can do. That's what's going on there. Jesus said, go and make disciples.
And that's a congregational level.
That's congregational level.
But the personal level is a different thing. We need to talk about quickly, how do you get an individual, someone comes and joins your church, and this whole thing we've been talking about this whole time is how do you get someone who's a non-believer to get there and become, stay there long enough with connections and stay there long as a disciple, and then send them back out to from whence they came. The problem is so often is that when a new person comes, someone maybe new in town, maybe not, they're not even a new Christian, but maybe they are, and they're new and they're excited about the church. They join the church, they love the church, and the first thing we do is we get them so involved in church stuff. We put them in the choir or in the band. We get them teaching Sunday school. We put them on a committee. We get them involved to the point where they are so church-minded, they're no worldly good because they're so in the church and they're no longer interacting with unchurched people. That's the number one problem I find with pastors, because pastors, you have to lead in this. You have to show how you can build relationships with unchurched people. And that's kind of difficult to do if you're only spending time in their office. But even our members have no real relationship with unchurched people. And if you're not interacting with non-believers, you can't be faithful to the Great Commission. And so we've got to get our people out of the church and out of church activities, if you will, so that they can make a difference. But, what does personal goal look like?
But wait, tell them, because some of our folks may not know what the Great Commission is. So will you tell them
go ye into all the world and make disciples. Go into the world. As you're going, go. Get out there. Do it. But again, if you're not meeting and hanging out with unchurched people, you cannot be faithful in the Great Commission. It's just not possible.
So that's the personal going that we're talking about. How is it that we as congregations help our members or our not yet members, but hanging with us, folks out into the world? Pastors and church leaders, you, as you've just said, have to take a lead in all of this. I know too many pastors who go and spend a lot of time every month at meetings like Kiwanis meetings, and name some others because I don't want to pick on Kiwanis.
The Elks Club.
The Elks Clubs. Lions. I mean, we've been Lions. Optimists, right? And so please hear me.
Or they get involved in ecumenical activities. They get involved in the church, community church, food pantry, et cetera, where they're hanging out with a whole bunch of
other Christians. But it's not just hanging out with a whole bunch of other Christians. I mean, part of the problem for me is that you're not doing mission. You're hanging out with places like the Optimists who do incredible work, but it's not ministry. And the Lions who do incredible work, but it's not ministry or mission, right? Not on behalf of the church.
And not in the name of the church. It's in the name of the Lions Club or the Optimist Club, which is great clubs, but you've got limited time and limited resources, pastor and church. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you
Right,
do.
go.
Can you tell we have a soapbox about this? So yeah, but they're spending, these pastors, not you, I'm sure, are spending so much time in these groups that they don't have time to do mission. And a lot of times I think that that's the case because their churches aren't doing anything that they feel like are changing their communities well. And let me say another piece about sending people out and helping them to go. Okay, I'll stay off one soapbox, except to say, what better way to change the world and make a difference than to help your parishioners who have a call or a gift for politics to run for local government? Now, I'm not saying to do the government. I'm not saying pick sides or do politics. I'm just saying you want to change the world and you have somebody in your congregation, maybe, well, you hopefully have lots of people in your congregation, but maybe their call is to be involved in politics. And wait a minute, let me finish this one thought. I am so vehement, obviously. I feel so strongly that we spend time out there marching and going to rallies and whatnot. And I'm ticking some of you off, but we do that, but we're not changing from the inside. And how do we do that? By encouraging people, enabling people to go.
And just to build on that, listen, if you're not called to politics, go to the city council meeting. You know, go have a voice, go help make it, go represent your church there, go get involved in the city. In fact, what an incredible opportunity to do mission is to help change your city from the inside out. Okay, that's just one example.
One big example. Well, let me say one more piece. And in a way, because you talked about this Christian ghetto, the one other way to really get to know your neighbors and what their needs are. There's a great website. There's lots of them, but this one's Brownie Locks, and there are holidays every day. There's some kind of a holiday going on every single day.
They're all fake holidays, but whatever.
Well, some of them aren't fake, but some of them have, like, let's see, Twinkie Day. I'll just take Twinkie. I don't know what today's is. So anyways, but you could take Twinkies. I've done this before. Take Twinkies and go to one of your neighbors whose name you don't yet know and say, I know this sounds really crazy, but I don't know your name, or maybe you told me and I don't remember your name. I'm Kris, and it is Twinkie Day, and I just thought I'd share a Twinkie and say how grateful I am to be on this block with you. And it's by doing that then that we are able to meet people, know what their needs are, and when we get a better sense of what the needs are, just start with your block, right? The more opportunities. I'll say it that way.
And as you go out and you build these relationships, here's the deal: is we just had a recent episode. We talked about spiritual conversations, how to have spiritual conversations, and that's the point: is to build a relationship with someone to the point where you can actually have a spiritual conversation where they're asking you. So you say you go to church, or I know that you go to church. Why? And there's a wide open for you to be able to share. Not why you go to church in terms of, all my friends are there, or I love the worship service, but how Jesus has impacted your life, and that this is a way in which you are able to worship that God. And it's opens the door wide for great conversations. And so look at that spiritual conversation. Also, episode on the 5 faces of Jesus. You'll want to look up that one as well.
Okay, so, and it's not just what Jesus has done for you or how he has impacted your life. It's how he is impacting your life. Do some daily or weekly check-ins around that. Well, we're going to talk. We're talking evangelism piece, and we're going to talk more about evangelism in future episodes, and probably a lot of future episodes.
Probably.
Right? Do we not?
Yeah, right.
We have a heart for this, but okay, now it's your turn.
We're out of time, and so I just want to share real quick that I can remember a long time ago when I was a part-time pastor at a church that was on this main busy thoroughfare. 2,500 cars drove by this church every morning, but we weren't getting noticed by any of them. And I was just wondering, I was just racking my brain, what do I do? How do I call attention to what's going on? And I had a mentor who said, listen, you need to look at the magazine net results. And so I did. And from my gleanings of Net Results magazine, I managed to put together a ministry that got me on Good Morning America with Charlie Gibson, being interviewed because of the ministry that we were doing there in this little town on this major road. And we became a household name in that town for the longest time. Today, I'm the managing editor of Net Results magazine, and I got to tell you, I have the same commitment as the managing editor back then to find great ideas to help church leaders make a difference in their community. So if you haven't checked out a subscription to Net Results magazine lately, I want to encourage you to go and check it out, netresults.org, or there's a link right there. You can go and check out Net Results because it's got great ideas for growing churches.
Hey, we are out of time.
Hey, that's great. We'll see you next week.
Have a great week.